Okay, and I will share. So I will share my screen with the presentation, and yeah, maybe Amber, if you want to first introduce ourselves, and then I will share my screen.
Okay, so my name is Ambar Tenorio Fornes, and I'm the founder of Quartz Open Access, researcher in decentralized technologies and online communities. And I'm really happy to be presenting here in the Open Publishing Fest our project. I hope you like what we have to share.
And happy to see you all here. My name is Evgenia. I'm also with Quartz Open Access. I am a postdoc researcher also at the same time in organization studies and management. And well, my role is in Quartz Open Access is more in research about new organizational models, but also in developing the strategy and looking how Quartz Open Access can solve the issues that many of actors in the academic publishing system face. So, and we will tell you a little bit more about that in our presentation today. Well, actually, we're a small team. Maybe you would like also to tell us about yourselves, since we're 5, 6. Yeah. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourselves?
I can go first. I'm Tessa Sontheimer. I am the student assistant for the Internet Policy Review Journal at the Alexander Humboldt Institute for Internet and Society in Berlin. And we're a Diamond Open Access journal, so just wanted to come learn about your project.
Thank you.
Nice, thank you.
Okay. Do you want me to go next? My name is Alice Percival, and I work for Cardiff University Press, which is a scholarly publisher attached to Cardiff University in the UK.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
We have some other, yeah.
Nora or Anne, would you like to also present yourselves?
If not, we can. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Hi, I'm Nora. I work for MDV Press. It's a very small university publisher at the University for Music and Performing Arts in Vienna. And yeah, I'm just curious about your project.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
Nice. I don't know if Anne also wants to introduce themselves or...
Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
Hello.
I'm Anne. I'm calling in from Boston in the United States, and I'm just curious to learn more about this open source component.
Nice.
Okay, thank you very much. So we are happy to tell you more about that, and we will be we'll present the project in about 15 20 minutes, and then we can discuss. If you have any questions, you would like some more information, we'll be happy to tell you more. So I will share my screen now. Okay, and yeah, so Amber, please.
Okay, so thank you everybody for being here today. What we're going to introduce is Quartz Open Access, which is our little project that is trying to grow and become not so little and become a cooperative route to fair and sustainable open access. What we want to build is a platform cooperative that will bring together independent open access journals and academics, and to build a community of scholars and institutions that are willing to sustain independent open access. Because we know how difficult it is for those journals outside the big publishers to survive and to have economic support. And we are willing to try a new way to bring sustainability, economic sustainability for them. the idea is to bring together in the ecosystem of Quartz Open Access libraries that are able to pledge funds to independent open access, the independent open access journals and publishers that want to be part of the network, and that hopefully we will help to receive funds, and of course scholars and researchers that that are part of this open access community and want to help the independent open access community grow and be more sustainable.
Okay, so I will take over here and I will tell a little bit more about why we started this initiative and what kind of problems we would like to solve. So, well, first of all, we're both researchers, and we, I think, both when we were somewhere in the beginning, or I don't know, in the middle of our PhDs, we realized that, well, the academic publishing system doesn't work as well as we would like it to work, and I guess you all know about many problems that the academic publishing system faces now in terms of support that goes from from libraries to commercial publishers, which is not, well, in our opinion, it is not a just and a fair system and a just and a fair way to distribute this funding in the academic system, in the academic publishing ecosystem. Sorry. So we think that scholar-led publishers, which often have more fair models of publishing, like Diamond Open Access, where nobody has to pay anything for publishing an article and the access is free for everyone. Well, these kinds of publishers are not supported enough in the current in the current shape of the academic publishing system. So they lack sustainability. The landscape of Diamond Open Access journals is rather fragmented. There is no community, and there is no way to kind of systematically support these types of journals. There is also a lack of funds for journal professionalization. So if a journal would like to become more professional, if it would like to let's say compete with commercial publishers, well, they don't have enough funds to do that. For libraries, it is also sometimes difficult to actually support these types of journals because, well, with the commercial publishers, you can have one agreement with one publisher, but you get access to many journals. With independent open access publishers, it has a more heavier, let's say, administrative burden, because a library needs to have a lot of agreements with a lot of journals. Which makes things complicated. Sometimes journals, independent open access journals, do not have a legal entity, or they don't have a bank account. So even if a library wants to support a journal, it is extremely difficult for them to do so. And it is also difficult for a library to actually understand what kind of open access journals are relevant for their researchers and where it would make sense to channel additional funds. For researchers as well, this is something I can tell from like my perspective as well, because as being a researcher, it is sometimes difficult to find those journals that I would like to support, which are, let's say, trustworthy and that need additional support from my side. So what is missing a little bit, well, not maybe a little bit, but is missing in the academic ecosystem is this community of open access, of Diamond Open Access journals that would be trustworthy, and a mechanism that would allow to support these journals in an efficient and an easy manner. So how will we solve these challenges? And I give floor to Amber now again.
Yeah. So I guess you all are familiar with all these problems that Evgenia has shared, and what we want to do with Quartz is to build a community and a technology that supports this fair distribution of funds, and hopefully bring money that is currently spent in non-open access publishing to this ecosystem of open access publishers. So can you so that, yeah. And how we will do it is with a simple donation button that journals can integrate in their websites. You can see there the purple Donate with Quartz button, which allows, of course, researchers to make donations, which is not, it's something that is helpful, but it's not really innovative. And what we add to this simple donation button is something called micro donations, which is a way by which researchers can send automatic small quantities of money to the journals they are visiting. This way, we can help libraries to share their budget to researchers that will then send it slowly to the open access journals that they love the most. And this is done through a browser extension that the researchers will download and hopefully will be make a reality because of our community, because we can bring together a community of journals, a community of libraries that want to support these journals, and a community of open access researchers, open access advocate in the different research fields. This is a picture of how we see the money flows in our system. We will contact university libraries and try to help them reduce the money they spend in non-open access publishing, and ask them to pledge part of this money will help them save to the community of open access journals that we are building. These universities will pledge these funds and give them to their researchers that then will slowly give these micro donations to the journals they visit. They can also even crowdfund initiatives, community initiatives that the community proposes, and even journals and initiatives will not be able only to get money from university libraries, although this is where we expect the biggest part of the budget to come from. But we will also enable individual donors to do the same, to install the browser extension and give micro donations to the journals they love the most, or to help them also donate to the initiatives they're willing to support. At the end of the day, we want to build an ecosystem, a community, a network that will help bring a bit more economic sustainability to the open access ecosystem. Sorry. And we will do that in the form of a platform cooperative. And that's what my colleague will soon explain. What's a platform cooperative?
Yeah, so what we want to do is not just to launch another platform, yet another startup in this field. We have seen already many initiatives like this that were launched with the best intentions, but then turned out to be, well, they just were bought, for instance, by commercial players, and they now make part of this growing ecosystem of apps and platforms that are owned by commercial publishers. So we do not want to end up in this situation. So one potential way to avoid that, and it's not only a way to avoid that, it also has a lot of other benefits, but it is building a platform cooperative. So we do not want to be the sole owners of this platform, but we want the community and the users of our browser extension and of the platform to be the owners of this platform and to be able to decide on which direction this platform goes. And if it is the academic community that owns the platform that decides that it needs to be sold, well, be it. But it is not the call of a small bunch of founders. But it is if it is at the desire of the academic community, it makes much more sense. So we were thinking a lot about how to organize how to organize our platform in a way that it is just and fair, and in a way that it is protected from such a takeover by a commercial player. And well, we believe that platform cooperativism is a suitable framework, and because it builds on several principles such as broad-based ownership and democratic governance, where again, as I mentioned, the users of the platform, be it libraries, journals, institutions, or individual researchers, would be actually the owners of this platform. This will mean that they will have a stake in decision making. They will have a stake in potential profit distribution if at some point the platform makes a profit as such. They will also be able to participate in the design of the platform, to decide on what kind of functionalities that it needs to support and what kind of members, for instance, the platform will support. And we also built on this principles or values of open source and open data, because we think, well, it goes hand in hand with also with the values of open access and open science. So this is our vision for the long term. We are not there yet. And well, actually, I will give. Sorry, this is something that I wanted to mention as well. We also have another session where we participate in the framework of Open Publishing Fest. It's a panel on community publishing business models, where we will speak about those different approaches and novel approaches to organizing initiatives in the field of academic publishing and open access. And you're also invited there if you're curious to learn more about platform cooperativism and community publishing models. So it's next week, November 18 at 3 p.m. And now I will hand over to Ambar to tell you a little bit about our future plans and what's coming up.
Thank you. So, as you saw, our initiative has two main goals, or two main objectives. One is to build technology that will help us fund and distribute money to the open access publishing ecosystem, and the other one is to build a community that will make this a reality. So our next steps are two. We would like to invite you to join us in two different ways. The first is joining our pilot program, where if you have a journal, or you're a library, or you're a researcher that wants to help us test the technology, you can become you can join the pilot programs, and we will help you adopt the technology. For instance, if you're a journal, we can help you to install this donation button that will help your readers to give you micro donations. And if you have a library that is already giving you some funds, we can collaborate with them so they can pledge funds to the community of readers you have, and test how the technology works for you. But most importantly, if you join the pilot program, you will be able to tell us what you think about the technology. You will be able to shape how it works. Tell us what it's working for you, what you would like to change, and in this way, help us build the best technology for you. And the second invitation we have for you is to join us in making this platform cooperative a platform cooperative of the academic community. So join us and help us increase the diversity of our community, and decide how we will make decisions, decide how we will distribute funds, decide who will own the community, and be part of how we shape the cooperative. I think with this, we can open the floor for questions. But before, I would like to invite you to join our community. You can do so in this QR code, or going to our website, which is quartz.to. And please join us, follow our news, follow us in Twitter. We are building a community space using Discord where we will hear from the community about how to save the project. And we are now willing to hear from you. If you have any doubts or anything you will want to share, it's your time. So Tessa?
Yeah, hi, thank you. Awesome project. Really excited to hear the work you're both doing. I just had 2 questions about kind of how, from what our journal is working on, this project could fit. First, I was curious if you had any statistics from your pilot program yet about the micro donations or the donations button. And second, I was curious, our funding model so far has maybe been more about like approaching libraries or institutions and asking them as a journal more directly. So I was wondering how Quartz would maybe fit into that, like asking, interfacing with libraries and larger institutions.
So you are really lucky to be we're inviting you to the pilot programs in a really early stages. So we don't have statistics from the pilots because we are still closing our first agreements with some journals. So we don't have the data, but it's something that we will have soon as we can install the first donation buttons and the first extensions. And then how will this be integrated in the larger ecosystem? We are still learning as well. So if you have contacts with libraries, we are doing research. We've learned that they have it difficult to find which journals to fund. And when they do find journals they want to support, they have it difficult to make funds arrive to them because usually these journals are not established as a company or as an organization, or they don't have bank accounts. So that's a way we've seen that we can help libraries to dedicate part of their open access funds to these independent and diamond open access journals that will not be able to get these funds if we don't help them as a community, or will have it more difficult. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question.
I can add a little bit here
Okay.
also that well, for some journals it may be the case that they already have some agreements with the libraries that support them in some way. So in these cases, this would be really interesting, in fact, to see how and to try and test and pilot this. To see how Quartz can fit into this model, because if the library already have some mechanism, already have some funds that are dedicated to financing a Diamond Open Access journal, then maybe this library can be more willing, or it will be easier to work with such a library and the journal that already collaborate and try to see whether this micropayment mechanism would fit into this relationship, and whether it will be easier actually for a library to then spread this model from only one journal, from supporting one journal, to maybe go into a larger number of journals. And then for a library, it can also be interesting to see how their researchers actually interact with those open access journals, and how many journals they visit, and then it will indeed be interesting to get these statistics. But yes, as Amber mentioned, we are not yet at this point, and this is what we're working on at the moment. Nora, you also had a question?
Yeah.
Yes. So first of all, I think it's a great idea, this project. But I see an issue with the problem that public institutions often are not allowed to donate to other institutions. So it's a problem with the wording, maybe. Have you thought about this? And do you have another narrative or something that we can use to convince our administration?
So, but there is a similar model that is already working, which is subscribe to open. So they don't donate to open access, they subscribe to open access, which is actually the same, but in different words. So what we are going to be proposing libraries is to subscribe to our community of open access. In the same way they subscribe to commercial publishers, they can subscribe to our community, and by doing that, we help them distribute the funds to the journals that are meaningful for them, because they will donate through their researchers, through their community, that when they are searching and browsing the articles they love from the journals they love, they will be sending automatic micro donations. So that's probably how we should frame it, not donations, but subscriptions, at least for,
Micropayments.
or micropayments. But yeah, libraries are excited. I mean, they see a potential in our community to help them bring money that they are spending now in non-open access resources to the open access community. So it's a good contribution from you to let us know that we should change the wording. Instead of donations, we should maybe use subscription. Maybe you have other ideas, I don't know.
It's difficult. I mean, subscription is actually what we want to get rid of, so
Yeah.
it's maybe not the best choice. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, subscribe to open, as I understood it, the difference maybe is that then you choose to support a journal continuously, right? And in your model, it's rather because it's a lot of micro payments, it adds up, and so in the end it could be sustainable, but it's still a risk, right? So maybe that's the difference, that it has this little bit of a risk that it's not sustainable, even though the plan is to make it sustainable. Did I get that right?
I would like to learn more about the risk that you are seeing.
Yeah, so that not enough micro payments come in for a certain journal, because at this point in time it might not be read so much, or not so many researchers click on that button for some reason. I mean,
I mean, that's a risk, of course, but I guess as a journal you should be trying to get readers, because you have interesting content and to build a community. And of course, we cannot guarantee you that by joining us you will receive a lot of funds, but we will guarantee that the funds that we have will be fairly distributed. So if you are able to grow a community of readers, then you will grow in the funding you receive from these readers. We have to develop strategies on how to share these funds, and actually that's why we are inviting the community to join us and help us decide on the platform cooperative, because maybe the community decides, hey, let's try to support also the smaller journals in our network a bit more. So if you are a journal that receives less than, I don't know, 50 euros per year in donation, we will double as a community the money that you receive, and we will take that from the biggest journals that are already sustainable that agreed to that, or something like that. But I guess the first challenge now is to get a lot of funds from libraries. We have a strategy for that, but we are not sure it will work, which is using another amazing tool called Unsub, that helps them to break big deals with big publishers and save a lot of money by saying, okay, I break my deal with Elsevier, for instance, and now I just subscribe to these 3 or 4 journals that are actually, these subscriptions are actually economically beneficial for me, and then I just pay every time for accessing. So this tool helps, Unsub helps libraries to save up to millions of dollars per year. And if we go to libraries and say, hey, we are helping you save $1 million, and we would like you to pledge a percentage of that for the community of independent open access journals that we are building, then I guess that will be great. We will have a lot of funds to bring from from business models that are exploitative to the open access community that is building academic content for the sake of it.
Yeah, and if I may add here is that the goal at this stage is not to provide, a mechanism that would make that would be like the sole way of for Diamond Open Access way or journals to be sustainable. So of course we in the beginning we won't be able to do that, and but at the same time. Many Diamond Open Access journals already have some way to exist, So it is not a risk to get some additional funds, well, and if it doesn't work and these additional funds finally do not materialize, so well, you're not losing anything at least. So it's not like we want to substitute some other streams of funding that Diamond Open Access journals may have already, but we want to bring some additional funds that finally, if you don't have this additional source of funding, you're not more at risk than you were before, So I see your point that it may be not solving the problem in the beginning, at least until we get a community of libraries. But at the same time, I don't know if it's really a risk for a journal. Or do you? What do you think about this?
Of course, if you see it that way, that it's only adding something to the funds that are already there and are sustaining the journal, then of course there is no risk. But in the first place, I understood it really as making this as soon as you're there as a major source of income, so the journal can remain independent.
That's the main goal, but that will depend on how strong as a community we grow, how much convincing power we have for libraries to pledge a lot of money. And at the end of the day, it depends on how many passionate people join the community and how loud can we be.
Yeah, just picking up on what Nora said, I appreciate that the micro donations might be seen as an additional source of funding for a journal, which perhaps, as you said, Evgenia, that it would have other funding already in place. But I think a lot of journal editorial teams would want to have some kind of forward planning. So they would want to know in advance if they had a certain amount of money that could be used for something, perhaps in the following year or over a 2-year or 3-year period. So there wouldn't be any way of telling how much money they would get if it was based on voluntary donations. So how would journal editorial teams and publishers be able to plan ahead for things that they might be able to do with this additional funding when they don't know how much money they're going to get? How would you solve that conundrum?
Yes, so I guess now only the most adventurous will join us, and we will let them know that maybe they are not going to get a lot of money. There is a way that we can do, which is reserve funds that journals would have received if they had our extension. For instance, we can do that for all the journals that are listed in the directory of open access journals and say, hey, we are saving 1 year's worth of donations for you. If you accept to join our network, you will have now 150 euros, and our community is growing, and maybe next year it will be more. That's something that the community should decide. Yeah. Maybe the community would decide, no, we want to get all the fundings for the journals that are part of the network, and that would be fair as well. But we have ways of saying, okay, this is how much these journals that are similar to yours have. This is how much they got this year. If you want to join us, you might be as lucky as them or even more. We cannot read the future, of course. and we haven't given a single dollar to any journal yet, so we cannot promise anything still.
But I think yeah, this is a very important point, and actually, if journals and I guess I get that a journal needs to know what kind of funds they can get if they join the pilot. But here, I think it's important also for us to think about how we can solve this problem. And one way for in the initial stages, when the journals just join us, and if we have libraries that are willing to pledge some funds, well, we can just see, okay, how many libraries do we have and how many journals do we have, and how much libraries are willing to pledge. Then we have an amount of funds that will be distributed somehow through the microdonations mechanism, and from that we can try to estimate how these funds can be distributed among all those journals, and give a potential amount. But yes, it is indeed. Thank you for raising this point. It is something that we really need to think about and address, because I really see how it can be actually a barrier for journals to participating in this pilot and joining the community. Yeah, so thank you for that. I don't know if you have any further thoughts or comments on this, but yeah, it's a good point.
It would be great to start announcing all the pledges that we are getting. So as soon as an university pledges, I don't know, 10,000 euros for our network, we have to announce it. And as journals see that we have more and more funds to redistribute, probably we can seduce them to join us. I don't know. But it's a good point.
But yes, it's a process. It's a process. But first we need a community of journals, and we need a community of libraries, and we need them at the same time to be able to manage this. And unless we have one or the other, this won't work. So it is.
It's a two-sided market problem.
But
so this is it.
But you said it's not a risk for the journals, right? So it shouldn't be so difficult to get the journals on board, and then this could convince the donors or the
That's our strategy. That's what we're trying to do. And some journals are already interested, and if you are a journal and want to be part, please write us. We are helping you as much as we can to install all the technologies and to be part of the community. So that's our plan, to have awesome journals in the network, so libraries see that it's worth it to pledge some funds to the network.
So maybe on a practical note, what it means for a journal to participate in a pilot is actually, well, he will need a PayPal account basically, and an address that will allow you to receive micropayments. This is like the most technical bit of this. It doesn't get any more difficult than that. Then the biggest part of the job is for us to develop the browser extension, which is almost ready. We're almost ready to launch it, and then the researchers will need to install this browser extension, and this will allow them to send microdonations. So for a journal to receive those microdonations, you will need just a specific address that we of course can explain how to get it, but it is not difficult. So there is not much development involved in that.
Yeah. And you will have to include our donation button in the website, which is something that is really easy, but we will help your tech team if they are not able to do it straightforward. We will help them to install it. So it's to create a couple of accounts and to install a small donation button in the journal, and then you will be receiving funds. It's not it's not a lot of investment.
Another thing to do. Yeah, then another thing to do is to make some noise about this.
Of course.
And to tell people to get the browser extension and start sending some funds to the journals.
And is it very easy to install the bottom in an OGS?
Exactly.
It's easy to do?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I mean, we will probably do an extension, an official extension for OGS, because we are seeing that it's the software that most of our journals in the community are using. So we will make it as available as a plugin sooner than later. So it's a one-click install. I mean, your technical person will know what I'm speaking about when I speak about these easy plugins.
Are there any other questions or concerns? Or what do you think? Would you be willing to participate in these pilots?
It's definitely very intriguing. I'm our student assistant, so I'm going to report back to our editor. But I think he'll be really excited, but I need to talk to him because I'm just the student assistant. But it's very intriguing for us as a Diamond Access journal. I think this aligns with a lot of things we're looking for. So
yeah, I think it's a really interesting idea. Yeah, I do think it's an interesting idea, and I will talk to some people at our press and with our partners as well to see if there is some way that we could look at incorporating it. But because a lot of our journals are very much run on a shoestring, and I think they would benefit from having an injection of funding to do some of the things that they would like to do. So I would have to see whether it's feasible for us. I will talk to some people.
Awesome.
Would you like to maybe get some more additional information that you could share with the people? So if so, maybe you can either send us your emails here in the chat, or you can directly, if you prefer not to do to share the email, you can also contact us via our email that we put here in the chat.
Yeah, I'm putting our websites where you can join our community and the newsletter, and our emails and Twitter handle. Our personal emails, I will write them as well.
Yeah, I'm just typing my email address for you now.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm not so sure if our journal, the only one that we have, and that is only launched in December, so it's very new, and they have funding. So I don't know, maybe at some point they will need more funding, but that's in the future. I'm rather interested from the library side of things, but also there, I don't know if I can convince administration to do such a thing, because the university is very conservative, and yeah, so I think that will have to wait. But I will follow your project definitely, and I will mention it every time there's a chance to do so.
You don't have to convince your library. You can just try to convince them to have a meeting with us, and we will do the convincing part. And if not, we will at least learn that is something really valuable. We have to learn also from those universities that are not able to give us funds, why they are not able. So maybe we can find a workaround, or just know which are our target audience regarding libraries that can give us money. I guess this is me saying that we are in a early stage where we are learning and we are experimenting, and any contacts are valuable, and that's why we want the community to join us as well, because that's where all our knowledge will come from, the diversity of people in the open access community.
Well, okay. I guess if there are no other questions, comments, concerns, we can wrap up here. and yeah, we'll be in touch with Alice and Tessa. And yeah, you're also of course welcome to, if you use Twitter, to follow us on Twitter. We try to post updates there, and we also have a newsletter that we send around like once a month or 2 months with all our key updates. You're also welcome to subscribe if you want to follow a bit on what we're doing.
Great. So thank
Okay.
you all.
Thank you.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I'm stopping recording.